Hello everyone, welcome again. Today I have brought you an exciting new video how to properly change the engine oil and a filter change, which is a very standard yet very important procedure. Let's start. Before you start changing the engine oil, make sure you have a new oil filter, an oil filter wrench or cap with socket, a 14mm socket for oil drain plug, a socket rod, a 14mm box wrench 6-point, oil filler funnel, plastic funnel, and a torque wrench. Make sure you have all these things. So we start by first of all raising the front end of the vehicle, and we place safety stands under the front suspension frame using a wooden slab so that the safety stands should not damage the front suspension frame. Okay, so the next step is to loosen the oil filter. It is preferable to use an oil filter cap type socket. It is better than an oil filter wrench because with this the filter will always loosen, it will not slip, it gives you more space to turn the oil filter, and it is better to apply a small amount of grease either on the lower end of the oil filter or on the inner surface of the oil filter cap so that it does not get stuck once we loosen the oil filter. So after fitting the filter cap, just simply turn it and the filter starts rotating and starts loosening, and gradually the filter comes off. Now loosen the oil drain nut. It's a 14mm nut for which a 14mm socket is required. Just loosen it enough so that it can turn by hand. There is no need to use a socket again. Allow the oil to drain completely in the drain pan. It should not spill on the floor, and allow maximum oil to drain until drops are left behind. So before fitting the new oil filter, be sure to oil its O-ring with new engine oil. So before fitting the oil filter, clean the oil filter fitting area thoroughly. Remove the residual old oil from the threads, and especially the area where the new oil filter gasket is going to sit. That area must be cleaned thoroughly and there should be no old oil residue. Now screw the new oil filter on the oil filter stand by hand until the filter O-ring of the oil filter contacts the mounting surface. The moment it will contact the mounting surface, the tightening of the filter by hand will stop automatically, like now. Now here you should stop. Finally, tighten the oil filter 3/4 of a turn from the point of contact with the mounting surface, either by using an oil filter wrench as shown, or also you can use a torque wrench, and the tightening torque is mentioned for this particular Swift. Now before installing the drain plug, wipe the drain plug clean. Make sure that it's free of engine oil, and very important that there is a steel washer on the drain plug. This must always be present, it must always be installed. Do not discard it. It's very important that there is a steel washer, not a leather washer, to prevent leakage of engine oil even after tightening the drain plug. Now reinstall the drain plug. As you can see, the engine oil has drained completely. Small amount of engine oil will continue to drip, that doesn't matter. Make sure there is a steel washer on the drain plug. before tightening the drain plug. The tightening torque for the drain plug is mentioned for this Suzuki Swift 1.3 liter engine. Now add the engine oil. First place a plastic funnel in the oil filler neck, which is on the cylinder head cover. Keep adding the engine oil till the oil level is brought to the full mark on the dipstick. This will ensure that the oil pan and the engine oil filter, they are completely filled with the engine oil. Okay, now the engine has started, and now I am going to check for oil leakage around the oil filter and the drain plug. First, visually inspect for oil leakage. See if there is oil leaking between the mounting surface and the oil filter gasket. After that, place your finger carefully, avoiding the hot exhaust. Place your finger and see if there is any engine oil seeping between the mounting surface and the oil filter gasket. Be very sure that there is no seepage of oil, there is no oil on your fingers. And before doing this, first clean the oil filter mounting surface with a cloth, and then check that there is no oil leaking around the oil filter. Now I will examine the oil drain plug. Before looking for leakage from the oil drain plug, clean the oil drain plug area around with the oil, and then look if there is any leakage from the oil drain plug. Okay, if you remember, we had filled the oil up to the full mark. Now you can see the engine oil level is between the low and the full mark. The reason is that we have started the engine for 3 minutes, then we have let it cool down for 5 minutes, and we have rechecked the engine oil. Recommendation is to keep the engine oil between the full and low mark, so that the overfilling of the engine with the oil may damage the engine also. This brings us to the end of this video. Engine oil change is a highly important, responsible job. A slight amount of carelessness can damage the engine permanently, so one should be careful. Thank you, and do subscribe my channel.